welcome to Storytime with Chris. Today, I'll be talking about an NBA legend, a Utah Jazz legend, returning to the team, an unfortunate suspension for RSL, and the main event, Davante Adams for Brandon Aiyuk. Will it happen? Should it happen? It's all next on Storytime with Chris. Starting off with the Utah Jazz. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to watch all the Vegas Summer League games, so I haven't had a chance to, have an assessment of that. It looks like they went 1-1. They beat Dallas by 1 point. They beat Toronto by 10, and then they lost to the Kings by 12, and the Clippers by 17. So, I haven't been able to watch. So, unfortunately, I won't have an assessment this time around for them. Just been a little bit too busy this week. But there was some interesting Jazz news that dropped. And I'd like to welcome Utah Jazz legend Russell Westbrook. This is the second time that Russell Westbrook has been traded to the Utah Jazz. So he automatically, give him a statue. Let's put a statue outside of the Delta Center with him. And let's retire that jersey, shall we? No, it's funny. I wonder if teams just hate Russell Westbrook, and that's why they keep sending him to Utah. This time it was with the LA Clippers. The Jazz sent Chris Dunn to the Clippers in exchange for Russell Wilson, and then the draft rights to Balsa Koprivica and a future second round pick swap and cash consideration. So obviously I don't know how much this actually affects the Jazz. Probably be more than likely a buyout for Russell Westbrook, but that's too bad. He's a Jazz legend. He's been here twice, and I guess that's it. So, yep, that's all the Jazz news for now. Stay tuned, and we'll see if I can catch up on the Vegas Summer League or not. At this point in the week, there is nothing really to report from the Utah Hockey Club, so it looks like we'll just be hanging out until there's some more news. I don't know. I've never been through hockey off season. I mean, I haven't followed hockey during an off season before, so I don't know what that looks like usually. Is this a slow part of the off season for a lot of clubs? If so, that'd be too bad because it coincides with the slow part of the NFL off season as well. But hey, if there's nothing to report, then there's nothing to talk about. So, Real Salt Lake, some unfortunate news from the club. Their lead scorer, actually the lead scorer of the MLS, one of their captains, is being suspended. It's really too bad because I just learned about this guy and learned how good he's actually been this year. He was suspended for 4 matches for violating the MLS anti-harassment policy. So obviously that's not good. 4 games doesn't seem like a lot. So I don't know the severity of what he did is. I don't know what the severity of what he did is. At this point, it hasn't been said what exactly he did or why he was suspended. Just everything I've seen states that it's for the anti-harassment policy violation. So, hopefully it's nothing crazy. Hopefully it's just like he used inappropriate language towards the referee too many times or something. But yeah, that's too bad. I believe he's going to be missing out on the MLS All-Star Game and their next 4 matches. I don't know if that includes the All-Star Game or not, but yeah, it's too bad, especially because RSL has been struggling a little bit. I mean, they were hot. They almost won. They almost broke the MLS record for games won in a row. Then they lost to Portland on Saturday 3-0, and then yesterday they tied with LAFC 1-1. And I know things are, it's starting to get to that point of the MLS season where, the number of points that you have, I don't know. I haven't followed soccer as long either, but I know that points matter, but I don't know how seeding, like playoff seeding, is that how it's determined by points, playoff seeding? I don't know, but hopefully hopefully RSL can get back on the right track, get Cicho back, and hopefully he didn't do anything crazy. And as it turns out, Real Salt Lake will have 2 players representing them in the MLS All-Star Game. Diego Luna is going to be, he actually just got a nod to play in the All-Star Game. So pretty awesome. That's great. I don't know. I mean, he's had a good season. He's had 5 goals and 12 assists so far. And so although it does suck that Cicho was suspended and won't be playing, at least RSL will still have 2 players representing them in the All-Star Game. So yeah, pretty cool. it seems like the 49ers never-ending drama and off-season fun will continue. This week has been an interesting week to say the least. Brandon Aiyuk didn't demand, but requested a trade. Doesn't surprise me that much. I don't know how that will really work. Actually, I do know how that would work. And that's with the other news it's not really news, but there was a rumor reported that the Raiders would be possibly interested in trading for Aiyuk. And, just hearing the Raiders are interested in Aiyuk, it's like, nah, we're not going to do that. But when it's also mentioned that they would be sending Davante Adams to the 49ers for Aiyuk, that makes you think a little bit. That's a little bit more interesting than, some draft picks. So my thoughts. I like this move if the Niners are putting all the chips in for a potential Super Bowl run this year, potentially next year as well. I like it for that reason. That's, I think, in my opinion, the good side of the trade. Of course, you're going to get one of the top receivers in the NFL. I have always felt like Brandon Aiyuk is like a tier, like Davante Adams is top shelf, right? He is a Lamborghini, and I've always felt like Brandon Aiyuk is, like a Lexus. Nice, really nice. It's going to be more than just a car that gets you from point A to B. It's going to be, a mid to high level car. But Davante Adams is a step above that. So that's probably not the best car analogy I could have used. But Davante, with him, he can beat man on man coverage. He's going to get open. Sometimes you can just throw the ball up even when he's not open. He's going to make a play. He played pretty well last season considering, what he had to deal with that quarterback. And if you saw a receiver, his frustrations with the quarterback situation in Las Vegas. So having a guy like Brock Purdy, who I think Brock will want to work with him, he'll want that connection with Davante. So, and also going back to that, Brandon Aiyuk is a really good receiver, and he's been, he's been the number one receiver for the 49ers the last 2 seasons. But one thing that's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's not mentioned enough, but he's really kind of disappeared in the playoffs. This last playoff run, he had that big catch against the Lions, but other than that, his playoff stats are just not good. Last year he had 9 catches for 149 yards and a touchdown. The year before that, 6 catches, 109 yards, no touchdowns. And the year before that, 9 catches, 135 yards, no touchdowns. So what does that average out to? Like three catches a game. All 3 years he played in 3 games. So it's 3 catches a game for less than 50 yards a game. And that just doesn't get it done, in my opinion. And we saw that in the Super Bowl. People have given Debo a lot of slack. People have given Debo a lot of flack for his performance in the Super Bowl, but I think they forgot that he went out with a hamstring injury very early on in that game. So he wasn't 100% at all. And Aiyuk just had 3 catches for 49 yards. He didn't do anything either. And with a guy like Davante Adams, you don't have to worry about if the Niners had Davante Adams instead of Brandon Aiyuk last year in the Super Bowl, I think they win that game. And so while it would be an immediate upgrade, Davante is a little bit older. How old is he? Like 31? I'm pretty sure Davante is 31. Yeah, 31 years old. He'll be 32 in December. So he's got a few years left. He's not like a speedy receiver. He's kind of like Aiyuk. Like I said, he's not a super crazy speedy receiver, but he can get open. The thing about him and the difference between him and Aiyuk is that Adams can beat man on man. And some teams even have bracket coverage on Davante Adams, and he still can beat those teams. So I don't know if Aiyuk could do that. With the Niners offense, you have so many weapons that teams don't bracket Aiyuk, except maybe the Chiefs did that a little bit in the Super Bowl, but. So those are all the positives. It's an immediate upgrade. Yeah, the positives for the 49ers to trade Brandon Aiyuk for Davante Adams. It's an immediate upgrade. Davante Adams can beat man coverage. He can beat bracket coverage as well. He is a top top 5 receiver in the league. I'm not going to say top 3 because there are some younger guys who might be up there, and he's going to immediately give him a better chance to win the Super Bowl in the next 2 years. And now the downsides. I've said from the beginning, how many quarterbacks in NFL history have had a go-to guy that they can, it's not very often that you can have 2 young players, a receiver and a quarterback, who you can develop together and create chemistry like Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers had. That takes time, and and Aiyuk and Brock are both young. Now would be a good time to have those 2 settle in and be in it for the long haul. So that's the negative, is you're going to lose a young receiver who can potentially be a great option in the long run. He may not be the guy that will win you a Super Bowl in the next year or 2, but with all the weapons that this team has, they still should be able to. They didn't last year, so who knows? Who knows if it's good enough? I think going off topic here, but they should have taken the more offensive linemen in the draft, and if they would have picked one instead of Moody. Anyway, that's neither here or there. So would I make this trade? That's a tough one. I think yes, I would make this trade because next year, Davante makes no real money next year. If you need to, you can get out of the contract, but he's not going to be as expensive as Aiyuk. At least I don't think he will be, especially if he's trying to compete for Super Bowls. And in that case, the Niners should extend Brock Purdy next off season. And there are quite a few young guys who are going to be free agents if the Niners don't re-sign them. And I think you're better off signing some of those guys and then focusing on rebuilding your offensive line, going out and seeing if there's a free agent left tackle who can come in and be Trent Williams' replacement. So as much as it sucks, I'd rather make that trade. If I were the owner, I would see what I can do to have that be done. Another receiver on the 49ers, not named Brandon Aiyuk. Ricky Pearsall was placed on the non-football injury list. So some sort of injury occurred when he was not practicing with the team. And hopefully it's nothing serious. You never want to hear a player go on this list, especially, right before training camp starts. So that's all I can really say is hopefully it's not serious. I know he was wearing the blue non-contact jersey in OTAs and minicamp. So I guess we'll see this. That would be rough. I'm excited to see what Pearsall does, though. I've seen some of the training videos that have been posted online. I don't know if he was the one that posted them or if someone else did, but man, he looks sharp as far as a route runner goes. He could be a guy that is an absolute threat on the goal line. I'm excited for him. Hopefully he was worth the pick at 31. I guess we'll see. Just hopefully this injury isn't anything serious and won't hinder him. And I want to see him in the preseason. Just because sometimes you get a good feel for some guys in the preseason, sometimes you don't. But it's gonna be. We'll see how the receiver room looks like this year. Debo, Pearsall, Jennings, Cowing, who are some of the other guys? Chris Conley. Who knows? Who knows what this room's going to look like? In my opinion, I've been wanting the Niners to switch things up. It seems like they bring back the same players year after year after year, and it hasn't worked. There's no Super Bowl ring on their finger. It wasn't good enough to beat the Chiefs, so switch it up. Bring in some other guys, and hope that Ricky Pearsall isn't seriously injured. And that is everything I had today. Let me know your thoughts on the Davante Adams for Brandon Aiyuk trade scenario. Do you think it's real? Do you think should it happen? Would you make that trade if you were the 49ers GM? The Raiders are a poorly ran franchise, so they might make any trade. They gave up Derek Carr and for Jimmy G, and now he's not on the team anymore. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Storytime with Chris is available on YouTube and Spotify, so if you haven't yet, please give me a follow on either platform or both. Like the podcast if you enjoyed it. Let me know if there's anything you would like to hear about. Right now, I'm focusing mostly on local sports, mostly the big 3, so the Jazz, RSL, and NHL, Utah Hockey Club. And then I talk about general NFL topics every now and then, mostly focusing on the Niners because that's my team. But let me know if there's anything you'd like to hear about, and I'll catch you on the next one. This has been Storytime with Chris.